and with style next. And Rambo will let that one go through for a touchback. And the Sooners will bring it out. 1st and 10. Spencer Rattler making his way out. Young man on the O'Brien list, coming off a 5-touchdown performance in his last outing against Oklahoma State. His big game capability, as Spencer touched on, has been outstanding at that pivot point in Lubbock, Texas, 6 weeks ago, where it really all began to come clear for him. Ramondre Stevenson will be in the backfield, and as he said to us, Spencer, before that game with Texas Tech, it always makes a difference when you can hand him the rock.
No question. Again, and since that time, Tim, they've become more of a run-dominant team, about a 52 to 48% split, and that's exactly what they need for his maturation.
That's Stoops in motion. And there you see the handoff to Ramondre. Forges ahead for a couple of yards. And going right up against those linebackers, Stevenson. And boy, oh boy, is that a matchup to watch.
Yeah, Dylan Doyle was number 44, the guy that was in on that tackle. He's going to be called on to match up again. And they've got Abram Smith, who's transferred, actually moved over from a running back position. He's converted to an inside linebacker. Those two inside guys are going to be the ones charged with the responsibility of dealing with Stevenson. And he's alone.
2nd and 8. Here's where he's troubled. When he is rolling out. You see that pressure. Now he just has to dump it. No one was available. Great coverage. And it was Bradley King, number 99, in hot pursuit. The defensive end, the senior transfer out of Arkansas State.
T.J. Franklin will be working opposite of him. These two guys here in this 3-man front are going to be busy, Tim, because remember, when you're dealing with the 3-man front, you've got one nose tackle. You don't have a 4th guy out there. So if Spencer Rattler moves outside that pocket, it's going to be one or two of these guys charged with the responsibility of chasing him down or containing him.
We can tell you only this. Multiple players are not available tonight due to COVID protocols. Beyond that, like you, we're searching through our depth chart as well. There's a crossing pattern. I believe that was caught. It was by Stoops. Great Stoops, sure-handed. And Spencer, that is a clinic on how to go and get one.
Yeah, J.T. Woods, I'm telling you, he's an athlete, man. He's a world-class sprinter, 100-meter, 200-meter guy. He's the one that came in with a couple interceptions last they played. And I'm telling you, Stoops, give him credit for going after that ball and plucking it and holding it high to indicate he's got the reception. That's outstanding.
2016.
After reviewing
they won the Big 12.
Ruling on the field of a catch for a first down is confirmed.
He sure did.
Yeah, Bob Stoops is Oklahoma's winningest coach, and when you start talking about the lineage of coaches, that's an impressive thing to say, man. Barry Switzers and Bud Wilkinson. This guy's at the top of the list.
See, he's destined for TV. He's already checking the internet. He's trending, and he gets on camera time. These coaches, they're not that far different from your typical television types.
I think this Baylor defense is trending too, but they got to deal with this guy right here. We talked about it, Timmy.
Stevenson talked about it back in Lubbock a few weeks ago. Spencer, that is Marcus Dupree-like, what we just witnessed right there.
Well, you know, this guy's got big guy body, little guy feet. It's the delayed draw, you know, the ability to have patience to step in there. I hear where you're coming from. Marcus was more of a strider on the big end. He does, with that helmet that sits high on his head, because all those dreadlocks up there, he looks like it. But Double Deuce wore that 22. I see the comparison, but he's a little bit different. Tremendous skill set, size, and strength, though.
Go with a screen after Ramondre. He's got a lot of room. Gets it down to the 25-yard line. Will only be a yard shy of the first down, so a pickup of 9. And the converted running back, Abram Smith, as you mentioned, number 28, the junior from Abilene, making the tackle.
Well, they like that matchup again, because what better than to have another running back converted to that linebacker position, matched up against another running back. Both of them are about the same size. It's going to be fun to watch them compete today.
Rattler. Look at him on the run. It's complete to Theo Weiss inside the 10.
Christian Morrison, man, the safety came up, Timmy, big time, and he drove. And that's how you close on the play. Rattler did a nice job of getting the ball out and released. And again, just pulling it down and selling it. Those defenders have to step up, and his touch is death. Weiss catches it, but boy, right there in his hip pocket's Christian Morgan to limit the damage.
First and goal. See the red zone defense, 7th in the Big 12. Aranda's specialty from a defensive standpoint has been but don't break. They are generally good historically, his Wisconsin teams and certainly LSU's in the red zone. Ramondre stopped at the point of attack this time.
Matt Jones has been outstanding, man. He's so fast. He's so quick. And this is, look, when you're in the red zone, it's the toughest place to score on the football field for a number of reasons. So you need guys that can operate in a phone booth and defend, particularly against what you'll see a lot of counters down here. I mean, last week Oklahoma came out, or the week before last, with the counter play, and Rattler scored on it. They've got to be able to diagnose that when they see the counter motion. I'm looking at those tackles and those guards that tend to lean back a little bit. They're getting ready to move, and then they'll go away from the numbers. That's why it's so difficult to defend.
On left guard. Motion from Jeremiah Hall, and there goes the corner. To the corner. And ushered out at the 2 by Raleigh Tejada. Senior from Frisco, Texas.
Jimmy, there's a handful of formations they'll run this out of, but again, when they come down, the speed motion, the opposite direction, it doesn't matter if you hook it or go inside out. The big fella's got enough speed to get to that corner, but if he reads that with a little bit more patience, maybe he darts that thing up inside. But they're first trying to do it on the counter on the edges.
This is a big third down play for Baylor defensively. Trying to hold them to 3. If, in fact, Oklahoma decides to go on 4th down, it wouldn't surprise anyone. Rattler with plenty of time. Now he steps up, and look at him go. Inside the 5. You're right. They had him bracketed, didn't they? He could not go to his left, and it looks like they may be going for it here on 4th down.
Great team defense there by Baylor. One of those guys up front, Ryan Miller and company, T.J. Franklin, Bradley King, all of them converging on the ball carrier, trying to find. This is just great coverage on the back end.
This is a big win because they decided to go with Burkich, and why not?
Yep.
Really one of the best in the country, if not the best. He's certainly been outstanding through the course of his career. This is a chip shot from 20 yards. Right down the middle, but given the way it began, Baylor will take 3.
No question. I was getting ready to say a little bit further, that's a win for Baylor. Tristan Slinkler, number 35, was the guy back there defending. So Baylor, hey, I'm nothing frowned about that, Timmy.
We're like Pistons.
Quick as a hiccup, man. Love them making plays on this football field. A lot of great memories over the years, Timmy. Met my bride down there on the 10-yard line on a nationally televised game against Ohio State.
I remember it well. We will have another touchback. Drew Brees, which was another magnificent quarterback in that area of Texas. Ebner is in the backfield on 1st down. Quick pitch to him towards the boundary. And here are the matchups, Spencer, from your perspective that we should really keep an eye on.
Well, Trey Brown and DJ Graham. I don't know how much DJ is going to play, but he's been playing a lot lately at that cornerback position. He's a converted wide receiver. His father, Davin Graham, both and I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I know a lot about his family. He's going to have to deal with R.J. Sneed, a great talent at that wide out position. They are dangerous. They've got a couple of other guys in the backfield for Baylor that also are going to be a challenge.
The wide receiver screen that's complete to Tyquan Thornton, number 9, and he's to within 3 yards of the 1st down, up to the 32-yard line.
And Tim, I can't say enough about how Charlie Brewer, with these assets, Thornton and company, how he has come into his own over the last couple of weeks or so. Again, one of the most difficult things to do after you've been steeped as a 5-year senior in one system. Along comes Larry Fedor with a different system. Now Charlie has to kind of readjust himself and then absorb that newness, and it's tough. It takes a while to adopt it.
Out of the shotgun, Ebner in the backfield with Brewer.
Good quality communication going on here. Let's see if they can convert it.
Nice curl action from R.J. Sneed. Like so many quarterbacks, Spencer, Brewer is better when the routes come back towards him.
Yeah, and that's a good friend of any quarterback, but I think when he moves, he's a half-field guy. Sneed comes across and finds a soft spot in that zone, and they're trying to go pace and tempo. That one needed a little bit more on it. But he's got the right idea, Tim. He's trying to find the voids in this zone coverage in the back end. Usually Oklahoma is going to give you a steady dose of man coverage. And again, they're going so fast, I didn't get a chance to see the snap off the top of it. But again, I like the previous play. He was able to find those soft voids as Dave Aranda looks on. And the thing I like about Dave, he's able as a defensive coach to diagnose some things that help Larry Fedora get this quarterback moved along in his progression.
On 2nd and 10, bouncing outside Ebner again. Wonderful defensive play there. Forging ahead, the Sooners getting the stop.
Ford Robertson was outstanding, number 92. Boy, he is something special. Watch him get after it, chasing him, not going to give up on Brewer. He's cooking big time. This team has been so aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. Ever since Ronnie Perkins has come back, that Texas Tech game that we called, Tim, they've been a different unit. Alex Grinch told us that, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, we're about a 7 or 8 on adoption of the speed defense concept. They're getting better every week.
Brewer again, a quick read.
Great
and then
job
he
stepping
lets it go. Gets it up to Ben Sims, and he's got a first down. That's the thing he pointed out to us, Spencer. One read, maybe two, and then go.
Yeah, he's a half-field guy. 1-2, bring it down. You're going to have to do that because number 7 is going to be having his ears pinned back, Timmy. You've got to get rid of that ball. He does a fantastic job. Then it's about finding the matchups that you prefer. And Charlie Brewer, once on the move, can do that. He looks like he's on that final drive against Kansas State, the team that beat Oklahoma earlier this year. This is impressive.
You survey Oklahoma defensively, you see some new people out there. Robert Barnes is playing safety, number 20. They go back the other way. Some contact with the pass not catchable. Ben Sims was the intended receiver.
Yep.
There's Alex Grinch, who came over after being a co-coordinator at Ohio State to be the defensive coordinator here. Spent some time with Mike Leach at Wazoo as well.
Yeah, some question as to whether or not he'd be available for this game, but he apparently was at practice yesterday and on the sideline and kind of re-retired Bob Stoops.
Yeah, the Hall of Famer was ready to come in.
He was ready, man.
He is more of a 3-4 guy. Obviously, Stoopsy, 4-3 defensive philosophy.
You know, but good coaching is coaching, man. The bottom line is if you got athletes and you know where they're supposed to be, it's about pointing them in that right direction and motivating them to do it over and over.
2nd and 10, out pattern incomplete. That was Thornton again, the intended receiver. Delarian Turner Yell in coverage 32.
I think he's going to continue to find his Brewer, Thornton, because he's a big target out there, and I think he likes the matchup. Turner Yell is an outstanding safety, but he's more of a strong safety type guy, and I think you probably have a little bit of an athletic advantage there. That's a matchup that we want to see if they'll continue to exploit.
Play fake, it's wide open on this end. Great recovery by Perkins. He stayed with it. That play, as it developed, looked like it might be big for Ebner. But again, the great speed of Ronnie Perkins, the junior from St. Louis, who along with Ramondre Stevenson helped.
You got press coverage on the outside. They try to work a little twins pick there, and it was successful. But Perkins not only delivered the big blow, but he came back and got the tackle as well, Tim. He is a man possessed.
4th down and 4, and the Bears are going to go for it.
So they're going 5 wide here, Tim. Empty backfield. See if they go a 5 vertical concept here and try to get rid of it quick. Try to stretch this back in.
Underneath, there it is. It's caught. It's a first down at the 31-yard line to Gavin Holmes, a 5'11 sophomore from Justin, Texas, out of Northwest High School.
Sean White there on the stop, that Mike linebacker. He was Johnny on the spot, not before the first down, though, was made, and he's trying to collect some opportunities there, and Brewers provided it for him, but not before significant yards a game.
Well, that was a huge conversion to keep this drive alive. You know, Aranda, as a defensive mind, understands that Sooners are going to score some points. Their offense needs to possess the ball as much as possible and convert on 3rd or maybe even 4th down tonight. Ebner stopped really before he could get going, a loss of a yard. Isaiah Thomas, 95, who has been a man-child since moving into that position vacated by Perkins due to suspension.
Love what they're doing. Watch the guards. They're pulling, showing counter like Oklahoma. Great impersonation.
Brewer again for the corner. Outstanding defense of Thornton that time by the Sooners defensively. That was Jaden Davis, number 4, man-to-man with Thornton.
Jay Davis, the cornerback, again, does a great job of identifying where the ball is so as to draw any attention away from him and induce the official into drawing a flag. That's playing honest corner play. Oklahoma is going to play man coverage on the outside, guys. That's what Alex Grinch is all about. Those guys in the interior line are effective because he can trust those cover brothers on the edges.
Larry Fedora, the offensive coordinator for Baylor, said, you know, there aren't many teams that play man-to-man in this league. You're going to see a lot of zone. Not tonight. In the flat to Ebner. He's going to get about 4 to 5 of that back from the original line of scrimmage. And another 4th down is coming up, but they are in field goal range now.
Excellent job of Deshaun White defending there. You know, if you guys are watching at home, you look at Dave Aranda out here, he can appreciate the defensive play that was just made on that particular play. Deshaun White played it inside out. He understood where he was vulnerable at and just made a solid play. Dave Aranda is one of the sharpest minds I've ever been around, and to listen to him talk about schemes and so forth, you got to be a purist to appreciate it, but he's one of the best.
This is John Mayers, who won the game at the buzzer last week from 47 yards.
Oh, short. I think somebody may have gotten a hand on that, too.
Might have. Football on Fox on this magnificent December Saturday. Great pressure, and down goes Spencer Rattler. Jalen Petrie, number 8, outstanding star linebacker, came in with 8.5 tackles for losses tonight.
Great job. Those backs have got to be able to step up and make a play inside, Timmy. Jeremiah Hall was the one charged with the responsibility of blocking him. Dave Aranda has got to like that ability to affect their quarterback. Outstanding defensive effort.
That puts them behind the chains, and that's another thing that he and his defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, were talking to us about in our meetings last night. They need to get some negative plays and avoid explosive plays from that big hand. How about that?
Oh, I'm telling you, he's stacking them big time.
And that's Petrie again. Say hello to Jalen Petrie, Marvin Mims.
Petrie put him on the dish and said, examine this. Man, he came hell-bent for election here. Mims hauled it in, and he's a great athlete as Mims, but this Petrie just really showed him what it's all about. Oh, he changed his mind.
He is a hybrid in the middle of a breakout season at that position. Career high 11 tackles against West Virginia. Well, how about what Iowa State did to them today? Man, I think they sent the statement, Oklahoma now has to do the same. Here comes Stevenson.
This guy's an eraser. I mean, if I'm taking you inside the game, I would tell you that Baylor just won that defensive battle up front, but this guy's an eraser. I mean, Baylor's gonna win the series. Aranda's excited about it, but this guy just erases. He should have not gotten any yardage on that one. Great defensive call by Dave Aranda's group. Unbelievable effort, but number 29 is impressive. They got to deal with him for the remainder of the evening.
That's as excited as you'll see Dave Aranda.
Yep. He's a staid guy, man. He's a cerebral guy. That's why he got the nickname the Professor.
Munchausen coming away. That was a shank. I mean, a really bad punt.
They need that consistently to have a favorable outcome tonight.
After a 12-yard punt, Baylor sets up shop at the 35. And here goes Charlie trying to get it done on his own, and finally Perkins was in his sights, and he said, I'll usher myself out. Thank you very much.
Charlie spent about 3 days' worth of energy jumping out that, man. It was impressive, though. I mean, it shows you some of the speed of Perkins in his hip pocket, chasing him all the way out. Perkins said, I'm not going to follow you behind the bench, but he's selling out, though. Number 5's a leader, man.
Remember now, Munchausen with that 12-yard punt. Very unlike him, averaging 40 on the year per punt. And this really gives Baylor an open door opportunity. Brewer, again on the run where he's so very good. And Tyquan Thornton now with his second catch, and he's been targeted more than any other Baylor receiver at the outset.
Yeah, Jaden Davis, the corner, number 4 on the receiving end of Thornton. He's a long-rangey guy. They like that matchup, and number 4 is charged with dealing with him in the way that makes sense for Oklahoma. Now, they're going to stay with that man, squat dog read on that corner with him, and dare him to beat him.
3rd down 4. Ebner the setback. Here it is, that shallow cross, and it goes incomplete. Intended for Fleets, 21.
Brian Asamoah, the will linebacker, man, and a trail technique came right behind him. And, you know, when you can find a will linebacker that can run and chase like that, that's pretty darn impressive. Again, these guys are hybrids these days. When you see these man coverage stop units, you need guys that can get right in your hip pocket and stay laser focused, not lose eye discipline, and make great plays.
Well, they're
just clean right there.
They're going to try again, Spencer, from 47. He missed earlier from this same distance. He does have a 50-yarder earlier in the year.
That was short, too.
Wow. About the same distance short.
Yep.
He had that big day in the Red River Shootout, you might recall, when Ramondre Stevenson wasn't available. There's Rambo on the receiving end. And, again, great convergence by Baylor defensively.
Abraham Smith, again, that will linebacker, man, is... Look at Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator. Man, his guys are flying around, Timmy. I want you to watch number 28. He just comes into your camera here. I mean, he's coming dead beat, gets across the body. That's where you want a will linebacker to run and chase like that and finish. Outstanding.
High school running back, as we mentioned, converted. And like most running backs, Spencer, he knows where those gaps are.
No question. They're instinctive, too.
Second down, 11. Rattler lets it fly. Back shoulder incomplete. Rambo, the intended receiver. Raleigh Tejada was the intended receiver.
Great defense by Tejada, the boundary corner. That means there's a lot of water that he's got to defend. Even though he didn't get his head back until late, the receiver's up in the air trying to make a play on it is Rambo. But pretty good defense by Tejada.
Under a minute to play here in the first. Third down and 11 coming up for Oklahoma. Other than that opening drive where Stevenson had the big run, they've really been stymied.
Timmy, the last 2 years, let me tell you, Baylor has been in this thing.
They have.
Forced overtime.
Blew a big lead, of course, Jalen Hurts with that huge win, you may recall. And here's Rattler trying to find his way free. Gets up to the 32 before Smith racks him up again, number 28. So far this year, Spencer, 23 tackles, 15 solo for this kid.
Yep.
And still getting adjusted to the position. There's Ron Roberts. You talk about the coaching tree. Ron was coaching at Tusculum College, a Division II school, and he wanted to hire Dave Aranda then. He wound up hiring him when he became he got overruled. And then at Delta State, when he became head coach, he was able to finally hire him. And after some time at Louisiana Lafayette, he's made it over here to be a part of Aranda's staff. Ebner, because Dave certainly respected what Larry has done through the years. And back in the Big 12, he grew up, Fedora did, about 90 minutes from Waco. Ebner beyond the 30 to the 31-yard line. And time is winding down here in the first.
Tim, as I was breaking down my tape, I looked at this guy, number 1, Ebner. He's a special player. He's going to play on Sundays.
We got a few of them tonight. Oklahoma, you got to remember to win the game as opposed to win big. Right now, what's big is the Baylor D. Our first quarter numbers, that's the lowest output in a first quarter this season for a normally fast-starting Sooners offense. Baylor's defense dictated pace of play after the opening drive when they held Oklahoma in the red zone to 3. And on 2nd and 7, as we open a little reverse, they go to Fleeks. And it is well diagnosed by the Sooners defensively. Nothing doing really about the line of scrimmage is all they could get. Deshaun White, 23, the first to get to Fleeks.
Trey Norwood was in there as well, number 13. Timmy, that speed, D, on demonstration right there. That's what Alex Grinch is trying to get with consistency. Typically, when you get that kind of buy-in on the defensive side, that type of reverse is going to yield you significant yardage. But once again, you talk about an equalizer, it's all about speed on the back end. And Alex Grinch had it in spades there from his back half.
I mean, other than the missed field goal, Spencer, this has been exactly what Baylor would have scripted for the start of a game at Oklahoma, the way the Sooners have been playing it lately.
Well, I'm not surprised, Tim. You go back and look at the last 2 times these teams have met. I mean, it's been a dogfight. Came down to the last 2 minutes, and as you mentioned before, overtime.
Brewer, again the crossing pattern, and a great job by Holmes just stretching out, giving every bit of his length and opportunity, but it's not enough. It'll be 4th down in a punt formation.
Well, that's a nice dart right there. It was right where it needed to be. Gavin Holmes, that H receiver, stretches out and gets it That's what you need from Brewer. Efficiency. Ball was placed exactly where it needed to be. We talked about him executing in our takes. That's exactly what he needs to do. May have come up short yardage-wise there, but if he continues to execute at some point in time, he's going to get a breakthrough.
You know, he heard some chirping from Baylor fans this year.
That was
really
unwarranted, Timmy.
Yep.
I felt so bad for him. Again, Larry Fedora's offensive coordinator, put a lot on his plate, and it's tough to digest all of that in that stride.
That's power with the punt. It's a beauty. Down to Greg Stoops, who called.
Probably wishes that offense would take off like it has been over these last few weeks. And tell you what, this Baylor defense has been stepping up, man.
Well, he's decided to go with both of his backs now, Spencer. T.J. Pledger has joined Ramon Stevenson. Look at that pressure. And down goes Rattler again. And Josh Landry, 92, coming in there to make the play for the Bears. This kid got a shot out of a cannon right there, the sophomore from Houston's Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar produces some great talent. A three-man front here with a late delay blitzer. That was Dylan Doyle, the Mike linebacker, who came in late. The Sooners got confused by the numbers. Again, just got beat up. Tyrese Robertson and company have got to be able to pick that up.
Again, a negative play. They're behind the chains on 2nd and 19.
Yeah, counter play, boy, that's tough.
Stevenson dragged down at the 10 by Dylan Doyle, 44.
I tell you, these inside linebackers of Baylor are acquitting themselves exceptionally well. That was the old bona fide guard and tackle off the offside on the counter pulling. They weren't daunted whatsoever. They physically came up and met the challenge. Watch them. They switch one another. They know which side they need to be on. They want to run and chase and then stone that big tackle that's come around. Outstanding job there by Dylan Doyle.
Spencer, they're splashing into a 5-man front right before the snap, aren't they?
They are stemming, and that's tough. The Oklahoma Sooners have got to identify that.
They're giving them a new look, something that they've not seen, and it's clearly got Spencer rattled. Shallow cross again. The flag down. Rambo is down. The flag is down in the backfield, back around the 8-yard line. Thrown in an area where you consider holding as a potential infraction, but we'll wait for referee Brandon Coon.
Illegal shift.
This off.
Offense, numbers 11 and 10. We're moving. Both did not reset prior to the snap. This penalty is declined.
You know, I wonder sometimes.
Brings up 4th down.
I wonder sometimes, Spencer, if that pre-snap movement defensively doesn't evoke that from time to time.
Yeah, Dave Miranda's history is definitely to dictate what the offense is going to do or see. He's been so aggressive. You can switch jerseys with these teams right now. I mean, Baylor's moving just as active as this Oklahoma defense that has the Speed D moniker.
Well, Munchausen got all of that one. Beautiful punt to Ebner. And the big-time running back is able to get about 4.
Southwest Conference.
Yes, indeed.
And that was the Cougars. I think he was in that first shot. With,
Bill Yeoman.
The veer offense. You got it, big boy. Can't put anything past you. Try to slip it in there. You got it.
1st and 10. We've got a pre-snap flag. You know, Spencer, we can talk about it. We have the COVID issue being what it was earlier in this week.
Ball start.
Here's the call.
Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
That'll go against Khalil Keith, who's starting in place of Newman Johnson, 55 at left guard. Right in the middle of your screen.
Come on, Newman.
Oops. Here's Brewer on a fly pattern. It is Ellis, 84. He got it. That is a beautiful fly route down the sideline. Jaden Davis was in coverage.
Well, we said that they like that matchup and they're going to go after it. They're chicken fighting down the road, and 84 comes up with the big time. Jaden Davis did a nice job of staying in his hip pocket, but that's just speed and about a 2 or 3 inch size advantage that was the difference.
Ellis, a redshirt freshman from Round Rock, Texas.
Plenty of time.
Oh, boy, is there. And, you know, he had an opportunity, Ellis again, but he slipped as he made his cut. But let's go back to that previous play, Spencer, and see how he got the room that he needed.
I mean, a redshirt freshman, you know, again, he's really actually not that tall. I got him listed right at 6. I think he's closer to 5'11". But in that climbing that ladder, he got a height advantage just by timing the ball and being able to see it. And he's celebrating right there. Cedar Ridge, its finest.
That chicken fighting you were talking about got him a little extension. Which, by the way, I love the no call on that. I think that when you're battling for position, jousting a little bit in man coverage, that's part of the defense. And no reason for an OPI call in that situation.
I agree, and the reason why that is the ball was thrown on a rope exactly where it needed to be by Brewer.
I think we see that far too often on Sundays. That 39-yard reception was Ellis's first catch of the year. Not a bad first catch. Think about that. See, Oklahoma's not the only team that's down a few players.
Now look at this stack formation. This is going to be a problem for Oklahoma if they don't diagnose this really quickly.
Ebner trying to run the stretch, and there was nothing doing. That ball on the ground. Oklahoma's going after it. They may have it.
They got it.
At the 35-yard line. I think they may rule him down. They are ruling it a fumble.
Wow. We'll take another look at it.
Turner Yell with the recovery. Delarian Turner Yell. Let's see who stripped it here. Looks like Perkins.
Well, that's a difference maker. You know,
he's down.
Yeah.
They'll call that one back. Protecting your quarterback and staying back in protection might be problematic for this young man who's not seen a lot of playing time.
I deal with the pressure here. There's a tight box, tight look.
Third and 11. Rolling really into the pressure that time was Brewer from Perkins.
Yep.
A little sportsmanship there from Ronnie to pick up the elder statesman quarterback, the senior Charlie Brewer.
Now just a little aggressive love tap there again. Some people think that that's a little over the top, but Perkins is just playing at a high level. We always talk about affecting the quarterback, and you can do that. You don't have to sack him. You don't have to bat a pass down sometimes. If you're within close proximity enough of him, just let him know you're there.
Well,
make him feel you.
Your kickers missed 2 already from, with the wind. Now they're against the wind. So on 4th and 11, they go for it.
You know he's
7 for 13 on 4th down conversions this year. Brewer. Over the middle. It's intercepted by Oklahoma. Taken away by Norwood. Trey Norwood. They may tack some on. We'll see. Brewer shoved him about a yard beyond the boundary. I don't see a flag as yet.
Yeah, they need to be nice about this.
Yeah.
Lincoln sprinting over to try to get his guys back in there, and this is the right way to do it. Oklahoma's got to be smart about themselves. They got a lot on the stake. You know, this is really difficult, too, because Gavin Holmes, the wide receiver at H, was wide open, Tim. It was just delivered a little bit too late. And here you see he's coming down short motion inside around the hash. And you see how he pivots? He falls. Yeah. He just simply falls down, Tim. Right there in the numbers is Norwood, and he's taking it the other direction. Oklahoma catches a break. But, again, along with Perkins a couple of plays previously, you'll see how aggressive this stop unit is.
Boy, I'm really surprised he didn't get flagged there.
Well,
I'm really
push him in the back, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, wow. I mean, he had to know where he was.
Yeah, there's a little frustration coming out there.
Listen, I think the world of the kid. The reaction from Oklahoma was quick, as you might expect. Great job of really officiating and getting everyone broken up. But I thought they...
Mentality, Dave Miranda is going to demand that from him.
1st and 10 from the 49. Stevenson just bottled up. And it's Abram Smith who's having a career night at that weak linebacker position.
I'm surprised they didn't take a shot there. Usually after a punt or a turnover, when you've got excellent field position, you got to down the spin. Take a shot. You got 2-3 in this. As high potent this offense has been in the last 3 or 4 weeks, averaging over 51 points. That was a surprise call for me.
Out of the shotgun, Steven the setback.
Now you got him.
Yeah. Nice. Off the plate, man. And it's caught by Hall.
Well, he dropped it.
Oh, he did drop it.
He did drop it, but I thought he caught it, too, because he was wide open. And Spencer Rattler has got to put that ball on him, man. You've got to place it. It's all about execution. You know, it's a nice little seam route there in a cover 2 scheme. He just puts it low. The ground. Ball does hit the ground. Never had control of it. You know, when you got a big back, they're not receivers. You got to place it on their numbers.
What a bizarre set of circumstances. The many scoring opportunities squandered really by both teams. Here's Oklahoma after a big turnover at midfield, and they've gone back 2 yards in their opening sequence.
Well, I like the call. I just didn't like the execution. It was a great call.
Rattler with time. It's incomplete. He was looking for Stoops, and it was knocked away. Great pursuit by Baylor defensively, and Petrie coming back from his linebacker spot, Spencer, to give some help.
Well, Timmy, that was a bad decision. I think Rattler understands it was a bad decision. He's got to be able to make a cleaner read than that. I mean, there's 2 defenders back here.
Yep.
With the safety coming back over the top, and essentially 3 in close proximity, with Christian Morgan, the free safety, making his way over there.
Those linebacker coaches, defensive line coaches are loving this for Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator of Baylor. I don't think anyone felt that the score would be 3-0 this deep into the second quarter. Here's the return.
Well, there's some whacking going on.
Mr. Rattler is a combination of Mayfield and Kyler Murray in many respects, and he has been stymied tonight. Here's Fleeks as they go with a little jet sweep action, but Oklahoma's defense for Alex Grinch has been as outstanding as you'd ever hope. But Baylor has been, I think, even more impressive on their side defensively.
They really have. They've been flying around, and it seems like they dial it up the closer they feel threatened. When you get to that red area, Alex Grinch's defense is always going to be aggressive. But I tell you, Baylor has matched them.
Cutting up the screen, and it's incomplete for White. Now remember, this is a kid that really hasn't played. They know Lovett. Ebner is banged up. So now they're down to really their 3rd and 4th running backs. And both of these teams, because of the times, the unprecedented times we're in, whether COVID or just at the end of a season, Baylor's banged up. Oklahoma really COVID protocoled into some of their difficulty, and you can see the rust with the 2 weeks off since Bedlam.
Yeah. Timmy, before that previous series, I'm going to drop a nugget on you to tell you what the inside game here and why Baylor should be excited. Prior to that last play, they had a 53-second advantage in terms of time of possession. That's an indicator that they're doing their job. They may not get in points, but they're keeping it away from Oklahoma.
Yeah, they've missed 2 field goals when they were in position.
Timeout on the field.
Bears month and a half. Here we go. 3rd down and 9. Fleeks had set up in the backfield. Now he moves into the slot.
Empty backfield pressure.
And here he comes off the edge. And down he goes. It's Isaiah Thomas. Big number 95. The junior getting the job done.
Look at him, 6'5", 267, as you said. Dip that shoulder and get down low and pull Brewer down. And I'm telling you, man, they're active up front. You're not going to have a long time to deal with it. But you know what? This is complimentary defense right now that they're playing, because when you look at the offense, the 72 yards they had on the first 10 plays on offense, Oklahoma's had 7 yards on 12 total plays the next 4 possessions. Their defense has got to step up.
Oklahoma's defense has kept them in this one. They come with an all-out rush.
What a kick.
Howard gets it out of there beautifully, and a fair catch called by Marvin Mims.
And I think it was, again, because of Ramondre Stevenson. It allowed Lincoln Riley to open up this offense. That's why you saw so many players engage in the offensive scheme.
Stevenson, they have been ready in the interior alignment. And all of those changes in that 3-man front looking more like a 5-man front has kept number 29 at bay, really since the opening series, Spence.
Yep. And to put a cap on your previous point, Tim, about Oklahoma's offense stalling and why they've all of a sudden caught fire after the Texas or during the Texas Tech game, people have to contend with 29. When Ramondre Stevenson has the kind of performance he has, averaging 6.6 yards a carry, you got to either bring a safety down or start filling that box up, and that means you got one-on-one matchups with your receivers.
On the outcut, Rattler's pass thrown only where his receiver, Theo Howard, could receive it, and he does for a first down.
Great pitch and catch. You can see off coverage. They're backing up, giving him a cushion that he needs. A nice outcut. Probably needs to break that off, but that ball had a string on the end of it. Again, Spencer Rattler has got to put a little bit more on that so that receiver doesn't have to stall like he did and slide down. That's been twice. Hall earlier, if you recall, on a seam route. Spencer Rattler made it a little bit shorter than it needed to be.
Howard in motion to the top of your screen. 1st and 10. To roll out action. Here goes Stevenson. He dances and prances inside the 30. They'll mark him right at the 30-yard line for another first down. Last time Oklahoma scored only 3.5 points in the first half, 2017, where? Ohio State. The Baker Mayfield game in Columbus. You remember how that one ended at midfield. Previous game was 2004 when they led Texas 3-0 at the end of the first.
Well, if they're going to stake their claim to this one, they've got to step up big time.
From the 30.
Oh, the nice looper.
He gets away, though. Rattler very resourceful there. And he'll get out of bounds without much of a loss, if any at all. That's Abram Smith that shoved him out.
Dylan Doyle, the Mike linebacker, came on a delayed loop. Watch number 44 in the middle of your screen. Now he comes in on a delayed loop. He's going to come all the way around after that back is out on a scat release. He has no responsibility, 44. So he's going, pinning his ears back, trying to get Rattler. Rattler makes a miss. You know what? You can't tell that this defense right here doesn't know what to do. They are smart. They swarm. They diagnose. This is a special unit.
Look at that. 14 dropbacks, 2 sacks, 4 knockdowns. Second down and 11. How about this little formation? Stevenson back there.
That's a full house, an inverted wishbone.
Yeah. Where's Buster Rhymes the other way? For the corner on isolation. Complete. And a late flag comes down. Howard isolated in man coverage with Mark Milton, 37, who's playing at corner in place of Kalen Barnes, who's a little banged up.
Well, it's just man coverage. Again, he trying to stick him and get vertical on this route here. Milton is there, sees it, tries to identify, but he sticks his hands out of the chest plate, and that's what caught him.
Number 37, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think he thought by the look back he had bought his way some freedom, but he did not.
You know, Milton's got some range on him, too. He's about 6'1", he's long. Guys have got to trust their skill set. If you're sitting there watching him in warm-up, this guy can stand straight, man, and kind of lean his shoulder and scratch the top of his kneecap. He's got long levers, and you got to trust those when you go up and not put yourself in a position where you're going to draw a penalty.
Rattler now 8 out of 12 with just 64 yards. Very pedestrian for him. Stevenson, again, they're all over the place.
Oh, man, they're so good.
You're trying to get off tackle in this game. Baylor has indeed sicked them.
I tell you,
tonight.
This weak side defensive end, here's the swarm here. T.J. Franklin, number 90, is involved in this too. And you got Woods coming down out of his safety position to clean things up. Abram Smith in there at the will linebacker position. He's been active all night long. And together, that trio, I mean, it's a different 3 group every single time. That's why Oklahoma is trying to struggle against Ron Roberts' defense, and they've been impressive tonight.
Second down and 11. Look at that. Total yards, only 84 for Oklahoma. On the cross, the pass is tipped into the air, and it's intercepted by Baylor's Christian Morgan. Boy, they read that one. Under normal circumstances, Spencer, you'd think maybe Stockner, who's unavailable, he's out of this game. They read this right away and got the tip drill to go their way.
Well, you know what? I'm just curious whether or not Spencer saw Christian Morgan standing over there at the safety position. You got to be mindful of that, right?
Yep.
Inside-out coverage, you had a guy versus a cover 2 look. So you're absolutely right. It's either a tight end type play or a running back type play, but you got to put it on him. Twice he put it short. There he just misread it, and the safety made him pay for it.
Justin Ebner, we're happy to report, is back in the game. The senior from Henderson, Texas, out of the shotgun. And they'll give it to him. And he's tripped up. Does get out to the 4-yard line. Nick Benito is not playing either tonight. We've seen a great deal of John Michael Terry, number 40, in that rush linebacker position.
Yeah,
Robert Barnes also
Robert
in at
Barnes.
safety.
You know, we talked to his dad. I don't know if you remember, but coming in, his dad stopped by and just to say hello. And Oklahoma's so short. They've got Barnes down there playing from safety position. They'll move him down. He's a big fella, but that's just how depleted Oklahoma is on the backside of moving guys around. Depleted Oklahoma is on the backside of moving guys around.
Second. Baylor looking to just get some room. Not much there. They were close to picking up a safety there. That's Asamoah, 24, wrapping up Ebner. A loss on the play. They'll mark it just shy of the 2.
Everybody's talking about Oklahoma's offense, but boy, this defense is what's carrying them right now, and tonight in particular. Winning the line of scrimmage battle, Jason Moore, the center, got handled there on the reach block. He's trying to turn his guy inside out, but just a strong defensive effort by the Sooners overall. And Asamoah made him finish, man. He's excited about it, as well he should be.
Really difficult time if you're Baylor to be down to your 3rd or 4th running back. And that's really where Charlie Brewer is.
No question. And that changes everything, Tim. When you don't have someone to keep you honest at that second level.
Out of the running back, 25. Out of the shotgun for Brewer.
Well, they need to get somewhere in the middle of the field. Keep it there.
Oh, boy. Wow. Again, barely able to get to the 1.
Yeah, I just don't know if you're going to populate the line of scrimmage like Oklahoma's doing. I don't have a problem with them taking a 5 to 7 yard shot here with the 3-step drop and get it out, because again, Oklahoma's not going to give. Nice inside charge there, trying to get to the outside, but the leverage that Oklahoma's playing with Norwood outside, making sure no one gets to the edge.
Yep.
It's tough. Alex Grinch just dialed it up big time right there. It was impressive. Now you got to watch that end line.
Mims, remember, has taken a couple to the house this year. Started it all in that road win at TCU. He is very dangerous, and this is very returnable. Big time returnable.
Nice job.
Look out. And he is corralled at the 32. The coverage was great. And I beg your pardon. We're going to say, because of dueling numbers, that was a safety, Al Walcott. I'm trying to give a backup quarterback some love, and it was actually Al Walcott. Brett Bender tells me he's got dueling numbers 18. He didn't tackle really like a backup quarterback, did he?
Yeah, he was aggressive.
There's Rambo. And Christian Rambo is stopped out of bounds at the 24, maybe the 23.
A little chippy out there is Rambo, and got one Baylor Bear Gimpy.
You know, he's been quiet this year, Spencer. Rambo.
Yeah, he really has, and I think a lot of that's because Oklahoma didn't really have an established running game until the Texas Tech game. Then they started spreading the wealth, and it's tough. They don't have a C.D. Lamb or that marquee player. Mims has been the big shot guy for them, but they've been able to spread the wealth this year.
2nd and 2. Stevenson not there. Brian Miller, he's going to be a yard shy of the first down. I mean, they are just giving ground grudgingly, these Bears, in tonight's game.
Well, again, you can't say enough about how impressive they've been. Just remember now, this same Oklahoma offense, Spencer Rattler threw for 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, and as they trounced Oklahoma State in Bedlam. That was just a couple of weeks ago. And look at what this Baylor team is doing. They're close for a reason. They're really good.
3rd down and 1. Oklahoma's last 5 possessions, 4 straight 3-and-outs.
You cut down your splits. Let's see if this is inside zone.
Yep. Stevenson has enough for the first down.
Good for him. Great call.
To the 18-yard line.
Great call. You know, a lot of times there's a lot of eye candy on this offense. Having Stoops cut down his splits, a lot of times guys will start looking and darting their eyes when it's really an inside zone call. Art Briles used to do that a lot. He'd get those guys spread out when he was at Baylor, and he'd get those receivers like 2 yards from the sideline. You said, boy, those are huge splits. Then he'd run dive. You know, it's all about getting the eyes affected. Great strategy.
As the clock winds down to close out this half, Baylor's offense so banged up. Oklahoma, a 10-point lead would be huge. This pass to the corner, incomplete. Flag down, comes in late. Stoops, the intended receiver.
Christian Morgan was back there, the free safety. Again, they've been working on him. Stoops did a number on him apparently that induced him to create the penalty here. The nice route.
On the defense, number 4. Automatic first down.
And he did get there prematurely. He did. Got him on the arm. Raked him. You can make a case, though, it would have been a touchdown otherwise, but this puts the ball now down to the 3. And with time winding down and the game going the way it is, suddenly 10 points looks almost insurmountable given the problems Baylor's having offensively. It really is. This is a huge sequence for Baylor to hang in there, given the fact their defense has controlled this game the way they have. Pledger and Stevenson, the 2 backs, out of the shotgun. Stevenson. That's a nice read right there. Touchdown!
Timmy, this is what he did against Texas Tech 3 times over, scoring 3 touchdowns on these close inside, I call them green zones, inside the 5-yard line. It's just tough yardage right here. Everybody's man blocking up front. Not a power scheme. It looks like more of a zone scheme. And that big fella, 247, just pushes the pile in there for the score. Outstanding effort. Hadn't been able to leverage that in open field to open the throw game. But, boy, if they can get him this way, I'm sure they'll take him at this point.
Gabe Burkich for the extra point. Credit Oklahoma's defense for holding Baylor back at the 1-yard line. And field position was the catalyst for that drive.
With when you get a Ramondre Stevenson helping Spencer Rattler's development, although it hadn't manifested to the level it has in the previous 3 weeks, Reese Hall does the same for Purdy at Iowa State.
They'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Well,
I mean, it creates a little tornado, a little whip right over there around Tornado Alley, man, and it's tough. You never know.
Yeah. Tim Brando with Gordon McCrae. Happy to have you with us. Tay McWilliams in the backfield. That pass goes incomplete. You know, at this stage, though, the clock wind down, one would think, and regather. Baylor so very close to being in control of this game. Oklahoma's got to feel very fortunate to be up by 10.
Well, remember, besides Dave Aranda has done a fantastic job with the stop unit, but besides that last touchdown, Oklahoma's last 5 drives ended in 4 points, punts, and an interception. So when you think whether or not they've acquitted themselves well here tonight, they certainly have. This is a winning performance given where they are.
That's Sims in motion, the tight end. He goes into the slot.
Well, they're running counter as much as Oklahoma is.
They are. That's McWilliams. And again, we're talking about players that simply have not gotten playing time at all.
You got a down bear here, Tim.
33, the running back. Yet another freshman.
Oklahoma's way off the ball here. Just going to be content. Cover 2 shell. Man free now.
They're begging for another turnover, and he hands it off to White. Look at White get away. That's their biggest play since very early. How about that? Yeah. Jonah White, Merkel High School. You know they're pumped up after seeing that.
Got great size on him. You know, he's their version of Ramondre Stevenson. Watch him run. Guys can't tackle him, but you better come guy. He's got high pockets. Look at him how he runs. He carries his weight well in his hips, but able to get down too and get forward.
We're in trouble again.
Time.
Flag down behind him, thrown in an area where you suspect holding, and he throws it incomplete.
Holding.
And we've
offense number 82. This penalty is declined. That's the end of the half.
And we've come to the end of the half as it is declined. Well, let's send you back now. A stunning score here at halftime in Norman, but it's that kind of year. Isn't it, Rob? That kind of year.
In this thing, not hibernating tonight.
Other really than R.J. Sneed at wide receiver, who clearly is a go-to guy, and he's been snuffed out by Oklahoma. Give Alex Grinch's defense some credit, too. Fleeks with the return gets it out to the 20. They're really one tight end that you can turn to as well. They're going to have to start moving some people around that haven't even played the position. Fleeks is now, by the way, in the backfield, normally a wide receiver. He can run it, has spent some time as a running back in his days in high school. They'll use him coming out of the backfield as a receiver here on first down, and he gets it out just shy of the 25. Trey Norwood, who had an interception in the first half, coming up to make the stop. There's Ebner, who's very, very questionable.
Yeah, so they use him in the throw game a lot, Tim, and that's one of the reasons why you see them trying to swing out with their backs to try to stretch this defense, and Dave Aranda knows how to work this team, but the bottom line is he can't get on the offensive side of the ball to control much of that right now.
Pressure off the edge, and Brewer wisely just ducks because Isaiah Thomas was about to polish up on what Ronnie Perkins had begun.
Perkins came screaming off that edge with his ears pinned back. You can see him in that wide 9 technique with that hand down. Again, you can't really deal with that. That guy's just unbelievable off the edge, Timmy. Blake Bettier's out there trying to defend him and block him, just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Bettier has really done an admirable job this past season for the most part. Young man from Utah having to deal with something that he has not seen yet this season in a guy like Perkins. Ahead goes Jonah White, who had that big run.
And there's Isaiah Thomas again, blowing up their counter. This is their reaction to what Oklahoma does offensively, and Isaiah Thomas just able to dip and knife in there and blow it up. It's an outstanding job.
You look at the way Thomas and Perrion Winfrey have played to go along with Perkins, and listen, Grinch's down linemen have been outstanding tonight. Marvin Mims, Back in single safety. At his own 46-yard line, Isaac Power will punt it away. So Baylor unable to get anything going in its opening series at this half.
That's a nice punt.
That will be a fair catch by Mims at his 48-yard line. Well, Spencer Rattler, who we saw him, I think, at his best in that game with Texas Tech. He throws the ball so well, particularly when he's on the run, when he's outside the pocket in a rollout capacity. But after accruing 5 touchdowns in Bedlam a couple of weeks ago, those sloppy mistakes that we had seen earlier in the year simply haven't been there. But tonight, Baylor's defense has given him different looks.
Let me be perfectly clear, Tim. The reason why he's not having success is they only have 37 yards rushing. That's what is the catalyst for this offense. This is a rushing offense. The throw game opens up after it.
There goes Weiss. Just a beautiful out pattern, a big-time throw by Rattler. The arm strength is incredible. Might have the best arm of any that Lincoln Riley's had.
It's a great job of releasing and then just beat man coverage. Look, the defender fell down. And that's one of the big reasons why that turned into an extra 13, 14 yards as the defender falls down.
25-yard gain for Weiss. Stevenson the setback, first down from the 27 of Baylor. Again, Stevenson in the flat. First blocker. Nice job. That's just beautiful. Good football there. He waited for the blocker to get in front. J.T. Woods, 22, making the stop. But this is just maturation beyond your years.
J.T. Woods got over there real quick, did number 22. But this is an extension of your run game, right? You can't get it up vertically in terms of running down and up the field and between the tackles. So they're going to try to stretch it horizontally and try to get something done. Oklahoma trying to find a way to manufacture yards and possess the ball and ultimately score. Need to find a run game, though.
Second down and 9. See that look that Baylor's giving them again.
It's an interesting look with trips into the short side of the field. Let's see what they do with it.
Rattler trying to step up. Now we'll tuck it and run. And in hot pursuit, Dylan Doyle, the sophomore out of Iowa City, Iowa.
Doyle and Abram Smith, number 28, 44, have been frequently in the backfield making plays. Tonight is a down bear.
That's Bradley King, 99, William Bradley King, who had to move into their country. Third down and 4 coming up.
Red-headed stranger, 1978.
Out of the shotgun, Rattler. Pocket closing, gets the pass complete on the curl, and it's complete to Hazelwood. Jaden Hazelwood, number 11, with his first reception of the night.
Yeah, and that's been kind of indicative of what Oklahoma has done. The receivers spreading it around. Ever since that Texas Tech week, they've been able to find it. The defender falls down and slips there. It was Tejada that slips. In the tradition of great receivers, the second and the third read, finds it, turns, sits it down, and places it properly between zone coverage. Excellent execution.
By the way, we were down on the field yesterday. I don't know that I've seen Owen Field in better shape this deep into any season.
Beautiful. It's a Bermuda grass.
Yeah.
It's hardy.
First and goal. Rattler with markers down behind him. Gets it off, and that's complete to Weiss, and he's down to the 2, but that one will come back. Martin Milton bringing him down. Who was in coverage with him there.
As fast as Baylor's defenders run and chase, when they can't do it,
holding.
It draws your
Offense
attention.
number 56. 10-yard penalty. It's first down.
Creed Humphrey's their best offensive lineman, the center, man. He's a smart cat, but these guys are so fast, man. You got to let them go. Otherwise, this will catch you every time. There's Creed Humphrey, number 56. He's got his arm on the right hand. Gets that left hand.
He had
hugging
two
around
guys.
the neck of T.J. Franklin. Strangle on him.
He's like, I had to deal with 2 guys that time. The second guy got him.
He's trying to protect his quarterback. You see somebody coming on a late game or a deal.
Yeah.
Sticking that arm out there, trying to help him.
Yeah. Center, generally speaking, will be your best lineman. Certainly the most intelligent, usually. First and goal now. And a little flea flicker action. Rattler. It's covered up. Incomplete. Mark it down. May get a bailout for interference here.
It may have been offensive interference.
Could be.
Again, you look at what Rambo came back open late quick, and Tejada's back there defending.
Boy, it was well covered, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was real covered.
I mean, triple coverage, really.
So you can see here's a nice release. He's get that right hand up. He splits the defenders and then just yanks him down and throws him out of the way.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense number 34.
Wow.
Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
I think you saw the discard, but Tejada, he needed a discard. he had him wrapped up at about the 5-yard line.
Wealth Wrangler?
The good news for Baylor is that the infraction will only give them half the distance to the goal. It will not get them any closer than that. First and goal from the 9.
Dave Miranda's going to try to be aggressive here. Dictate what happens. He's trying to affect the read here.
Rattler, bootleg action now in trouble again.
Defensive call.
Yeah, but there he is, 3 in the corner, touchdown. Theo Weiss. That's Rattler doing Rattler-like things. Spencer, you said it in the middle of the play. I mean, it was outstanding defense, but when you force this guy to ad-lib, this is what happens.
Well, this is what happens. He wins an individual battle, Tim. That's the bottom line, is that Mark Milton back there just lost him. It's tough to cover somebody man-to-man throughout that very different machinations of one play. I mean, that was a crazy route. That was worse than a Dino route. He had 6 or 7 different directions he ended up, but it was improvisation. Can't really defend that long man-to-man.
Burkett tacks on the point. 17-0 as the Sooners now take command here in the third quarter. I think Olympic Club has it in San Francisco. Great football. Yeah. Fleets on the return.
Well, they were fast.
You know what? Against Oklahoma State last year, the win they had.
The ball with the wrist going the opposite direction. And I dare say, kind of like some of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League, he's just that gifted, but you don't want him as a steady diet to have to do that.
A little curl out there to number 82, the reserve tight end Tyler Henderson, number 82. And again, we're down to the 4th option, even at tight end, with Sims lost, Dabney lost, and Henley nicked up.
Again, I feel really bad for Brewer because he doesn't have his best assets on the field.
No, he does not. Allow pattern to Jonah White. And Jonah gets it out to the 39. These are young men, a lot of them, that had not touched the ball until tonight this year. In the case of White, a former quarterback in high school, he rushed for 2,611 yards. He had 1 carry for 2 yards before redshirting a year ago.
You know, Baylor's got some great athletes on their team. And again, there was nothing wrong with this team when Dave Aranda, from a talent standpoint, got here. They just needed to learn a different system. Confidence comes from demonstrated ability. If it's a new system, you're not going to demonstrate confidence immediately.
Ahead they go, and I think it may be close to the first down. Perkins with the stop. It appears that the side judge has given him the necessary yardage for a first down. Very close, but
yeah, he's going to be about half a foot short.
Nope. They
gave it to him?
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, don't ever. Hey,
wow.
I told you, this right foot spot, baby.
I hear what you're saying. I'm looking over here where this guy's standing, and he's like,
you got a left foot spot, you're in trouble. Right foot spot, you got it. From the 39, again, White in the backfield. Are we going to have one of those where we're going to check?
Was a first down.
Here we go.
That play is under review.
You were on to something. Here we go. We're going to check the mark.
I'll tell you, Wrangler. Mama didn't raise no fool.
I thought he had it. Remember, see where the line is? It's right at the 39. And I thought the ball got beyond that spot. See the guy at the top? He's coming in, and he's going to spot it with the right foot.
And I think he's about a foot ahead of where he needed to be, from my standpoint. The line, take a look at 88, just drive them center back, and Mike Pereira, Timmy, want to take a look at this.
Ruling on the field stands as called. It's first down.
He was only going to... Mike, you were going to say I was right, correct? I think he was going to say that.
Absolutely, I was going to say you were right. I'm still
Don't blow him up anymore.
What the left foot, right foot spots are, but that's all right.
See,
you were 100% right on this. They were not going to reverse this.
Years of doing this, if the line judge is coming in and he's spotting it with his right foot, it's always going to be maybe an inch or two ahead of where the linesman would be if he's using his left.
Don't puff him up anymore, Mike.
On the curl, Oh, this is one of the bigger plays in the air. That's Tyquan Thornton, number 9. He's got it inside the 45 at the 43. Mike, you would have got... Spencer launched into a nice story there, and we were a little late getting to you. That was a great play there.
Excellent play. Great precision again by Brewer, what you needed to him. Remember in our takes at the top of the show, it was about being accurate and not losing this game with mistakes.
Play fake, and here's Brewer looking down the seam. Incomplete. Intended for Ellis. He had a step for a moment. Ball came out a little bit late.
Yeah, Norwood and company was back there. Again, they've got so much speed on this back end, able to converge despite the fact that there was plenty of time to throw. And Brewer got everything into it. You can see over the top, Norwood is there. Jaden Davis, the cornerback, is over there. I mean, you got to ask the question, how the heck does the corner get over there so fast? That's what speed defense is all about, man. These guys have tremendous range on the back end of Alex Grinch's defense.
2nd and 10, Brewer running out of time. Looking for help, can't find it. Just dumps it in the direction of Christoph Henley, the junior tight end from Innsbruck, Austria, the Oak Ridge School.
John Michael Terry, number 40, stepping up in that rush side as well, in the inside linebacker position. He'll move to the outside occasionally. Excellent job of him coming in and affecting the play. All these guys are getting a chance with the short numbers on the defensive side of the ball to make a play in what's become a defensive battle.
Well, you see the injury story. Ebner out, Sims out. Where they're listing him as questionable, but I think we'd see him on a play like this if he were available to go.
Just a 3-man rush.
There it is.
Nice.
That is just shy of a first down. It's going to be about a yard short. That's Tyler Henderson, 82. It'll set up a 4th and 1, and you know they got to go.
Yeah, Brand Mead was there defending on that play, and again, just a 3-man rush. The Oklahoma Sooners, a rare situation where they're going to play coverage in that situation, and that actually gave Brewer some time to find somebody open.
Jonah White, as we mentioned, did not touch the ball. None of the backs had, with the exception of Tay McWilliams, as backups to Ebner. And no Lovett available. 4th and 1. Brewer on his own. He forges ahead. I think we got procedure. That's only going to add to the misery index for Baylor. False start.
False start. Offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Yeah.
Khalil Keith.
That's the 2nd time he's been tagged tonight.
Yeah, the left guard, Khalil Keith, number 61, Tim, just kind of wiggled a little bit there. Got to hold your water, big fella. You know the count. Everybody else doesn't. I mean, I understand why it happens, but Dave Aranda doesn't appreciate it when these guys, offense is a creative process, Tim. One guy can mess it all up. On defense, you can have 3 or 4 of them out of place, and the play still can be successful if one steps up.
4th and 6. Pressure off the edge. There it is. Nice. First down. Well done on the out route to R.J. Sneed, who's been silenced tonight. This kid, 6 catches, 86 yards, a touchdown. It was his 6th game with 4+ catches. This is his 1st tonight.
I think it was Trey Brown out there who slips coming out of his break trying to cover it, and he just knew it. Sneed did a fantastic job of separating, but I'm not so sure he would have been able to cover that anyway. It's an excellent route by Sneed.
That gives him a little life. 3rd conversion of this drive. Brewer goes to his 2nd option on the cross. It was tipped incomplete. Almost intercepted. Tyquan Thornton unable to reel that one in, and on the tip drill, Sooners had a shot at it here.
Well, they were trying to play man coverage, and the ball, if it touches your hand, Tim, you know the school of thought. You need to catch that ball. Great coverage on the back end for the Sooners.
Well, they go empty. 3 by 2 now. The receiving set with the tight end flanked all the way to the bottom of your screen. That's Christoph Henley.
Sooners are going to rush a 4.
Brewer sees some openings. Decides to tuck it. Puts it down to the 30-yard line. A modest gain of 3 in the arms of Josh Ellison, number 90.
They can almost guess when you rush 4 against Brewer, he's going to pull it down and run with it. When he does, you have to play with integrity. Sooners had a gains and a deal working. When you vacate an area as a defensive lineman, you must replace it with another defensive lineman. So you can play games, but you have to end up with integrity. That means each one fit one. It's like a glove. Each one of those red jerseys have to be in a gap by the time that quarterback decides to release. Great job by the Sooners. Sooners on defense.
Jonah White in motion. 3rd down, 7, empty backfield.
3-man rush, trying to beat with coverage.
That pass is batted down. Looked like possibly number 90 Ellison with his big mitt. And 4th and 7 coming up.
You know, Josh is usually working at that weak defensive end space, but again, playing coverage. I'm not so sure this is where this quarterback is at his best, but when you can't get to him, that's exactly what you do. You try to affect him with your arms. Josh Ellison doing a great J.J. Watt impersonation, timing that one up and getting that mid up there to bat it down.
Baylor wants to hang around a little while. They need this conversion.
Yep, they're about 30% on 3rd down. Sooners were actually worse prior to that last drive.
He's in trouble and down. It's Perrion Winfrey, the junior from Maywood, Illinois, by way of Iowa Western Community College. The JC transfer coming right up the gut from the nose spot. We got a marker down, though. Hang on.
Defense. Number 33 was lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Oh, what a break.
Marcus Stripling, they caught him, huh? At that defensive end position, and he's a different talent, man, but
had no effect on the play.
Nope, none. See, he's lined up wide with that hand down, and let's see if he gets, I don't know about that, unless he was just lined up.
It was where he was lined up. There wasn't an early move. He simply was in the neutral zone.
Yep.
So the ball now marked just inside the 25. 4th down and 3. Need to get to the 22. Brewer. Wow. Looking for room on the opposite side. He's got his receiver. Touchdown. It's Snead. It's number 9, Taquan Thornton, I beg your pardon, on the reception. Gosh, I thought that was a marvelous play, and 0 rather than 9, but a marvelous play by Charlie Brewer.
Jaden Davis there again. It was a broken play again. It's almost like a design play. Thornton came back, saw the defender coming, stuck that long arm out there to create some separation. And the good thing he did, because Ronnie Perkins, who was looping all the way around, came in and just absolutely nailed Brewer as he released that ball. Brewer, to his credit, stood in there and took it and delivered a strike in the end zone.
He was stumbling, Spencer.
Yep.
He was stumbling down. That's a big play and makes it a game. 4:50 remaining. That play right there. Mark that one down.
It's a 10-point affair here.
Mayers. Shot. Jerry Bohannon is warming up, but it would appear that Brewer is still good enough to go. Now, this is a kid that'll just wind up and let it go. And his toughness will never be questioned. That pass and those 4th down conversions were huge. Here goes Rattler with pressure, and he is pulled down. And mark it around the 26-27. T.J. Franklin bringing him down.
That was a wicked corner cat blitz, Timmy, to the short side of the field, and that pressure's coming. And Rattler's going to either get a new shoe or something. You see the left tackle trying to indicate and point that you got pressure coming off the outside. That was Eric Swinson, number 77, trying to communicate. The back did pick it up.
Yeah.
But it was a nice big shot.
Could have been a big loss. Wound up gaining one. It's 2nd and 9.
Wow, that's
Pleasure wrapped up, and he was hit 3 yards behind the line.
That's Matt Jones, man. Matt Jones really all over, number 52 out of Desaperbium. A good football played out of that area, man. Coming off the edge, screaming. Outstanding job of being aggressive. You'll see 52 flash from that stand-up position. You're right in your corner. He says, everybody's leaving. That's the counter. I'm going to get the back before we get a chance to get to the edge. That's outstanding defense right there.
Been in those situations where you're sort of glad you didn't get it?
Heck yeah, man. That's Ron Roberts diagnosing and getting his guys up front to understand. If you see that tackle and guard leaning back in their stands, they're getting ready to vacate.
3rd down and 10. Rattler sends 4 guys into the pattern. Gets away from pressure, now gets away once again, but finally hauled down by Dylan Doyle.
You know, Tim, the problem is, and I think you rightly discern what Rattler is, he is a hybrid between 3 quarterbacks. I think about Murray, I think about Hurts, I think about Baker Mayfield. He's accurate, but he's a different quarterback. Here's you see the little trifecta, the route, the vertical route there turns into a crossing route underneath the shallow crossing route, trying to get a natural pick underneath. It's just a great job of covering. And
no doubt.
Dave said, man, that's how we cover this complex offense.
Martel to punt it away. Holmes is back deep. Fair catch was called.
Got to keep them moving.
Stay positive, test negative. There you go. That's what they did here in Norman this week in order to get to this point to play. 1st and 10 for the Bears. See if they can follow up that scoring drive with something else offensively as Jonah White receives this one up to the 37-yard line. Speaking of what happened to Spencer Rattler and trying to stay positive after what happened on that last sequence for them.
Well, they're bringing negative defense, that's for sure. And it's tough to stay positive when they're tagging you like they have been. You can see he's frustrated.
Yeah.
Man. Can't blame him.
2nd and 4. Brewer on the cross with a quick ball. Tapped right at the line of scrimmage. Batted down yet again. This time it's Corey Robertson, 90 yet again. This time it's Corey Robertson, 92 up there to knock that one down. Otherwise, this is a completion.
Absolutely love the starboard charge. That's a right side charge. And again, the game and the deal of the mix inside. Corey Robinson puts a mid up. Again, they're not getting to the quarterback. They're affecting the quarterback with their arms and their hands. And again, give Alex Finch credit for understanding he's got some athletic guys up front that can get around and move around and still redirect.
3rd down 4.
3-man rush.
Yeah, and there's the room for Brewer.
Oh, nice.
Plenty of it. And he wisely gets down as he passes his own 45 up to the 46-yard line. Well, they might mark it at the 45.
Yeah, the Sooners are going to stop him. They may have to earnestly spy him at some point in time. I don't think that was part of their game plan. But you know, once he tucks it down and runs, a nice individual move.
Did you see that move?
Down. Yeah, absolutely.
Gave him the old
Turner yell. Just trying to defend him on the back end. Didn't want any part of that.
Gave him the old heavy leg.
The Jake leg.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what you called it back in the day. Brewer again going deep, looping it, and it's incomplete. Marker down. Trey Brown on Jalen Ellis. Now, these two have been going at it just a bit throughout the game. You can make a case even on the touchdown by Thornton. There was a lot of jousting. Let's see here who's the guilty party. Oh, yeah, it's got to be 6.
Pass interference. Defense number 6. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first
Trey
down.
Brown clinched the collar.
Yeah.
You can see here. He may not have drug him down, but he clinched the collar to be sure.
Gotten to the point now where every flag on pass interference, fans don't like it. Twitter goes wild, but that is pass interference. I'm sorry, folks. Like it or not. 1st and 10.
What a great job the timing of this unit. Timmy, once again, I can't say enough. John Michael Terry here, number 40, the rush end, does a nice job of getting his hands up. If you cannot get to the quarterback, you can still affect the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I love about what they're doing.
Wasn't a bad hold by Connor Galvin, 76, to keep him from intercepting that and taking it to the house. Right after he tipped it into the air, Michael Terry had his eyes on the end zone. 2nd and 10. Again, we really haven't called Snead's name that often.
Another game and deal inside.
There we go for the back shoulder throw, and it's incomplete. Going for Tyquan Thornton, who has been his favorite target tonight. Working on Graham.
You know, for a group, for the most part, you mentioned Connor Galvin and Newman Johnson, all of those guys up front, Jason Moore, Jake Burt, Bettier, all of those guys have done a fantastic job of picking up the games and the deals of Oklahoma's defense. What they have been challenged, and I'm not so sure you can do anything about it, is when they stop and decide to block and jump. And the Sooners have been effective at that tonight.
4 pass breakups tonight of Charlie Brewer. And again, another slip. This one intended for Tyler Henderson. And it'll be 4th down.
Well, it'd be nice to be able to have a guy that can keep his feet and make a play, because they found some success on the right side of that field. Leaking the back out late, the tight end, check down routes have been available there because of the type of scheme Oklahoma runs. To the weak side, there's opportunities there. Just got to keep your footing.
Jonah White remains the setback. They're going for it on 4th down here. You surprised? Are you surprised at this?
I am surprised at it.
I thought they'd play field position here and punt it away.
Everybody's got one in their back pocket.
Yeah. Brewer in trouble. Lets it fly, and it's picked. Intercepted by DJ Graham, a kid that was thought by many to be unavailable tonight. He fought through it. High school wide receiver, a legacy here, and a young man from Fort Worth that makes a huge play.
His dad, Davin, is smiling right now from ear to ear. Nice job. The converted wide receiver. Great ball skills. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, Timmy, actually it was the Texas Tech game. Alex Sprint said, we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. He's a receiver with great ball skills, nice, long, lean body. I went to high school with his dad, Davin, at Thomas Edison High School, and Lincoln Riley's digging his skill set. He says, man, we've got a keeper on that defensive side of the ball.
I barely got you back to the Overton Hotel in Lubbock because you were talking to his dad so long.
You stopped and took a picture with him, and he wanted to hang out with Tim Brando. I said, okay.
Oh, you love those legacy stories. And that's true at every school. Love to see those second, third generation players. Demondre Stevenson in the backfield, first down for Oklahoma. And it's going to be Pledger who's with him. Nice change up. TJ inside the 30 to the 26. Christian Morgan with a saving tackle.
What a nice change-up. Again, you're used to 2-9 being in there. Ramondre Stevenson, and then all of a sudden you come back with Pledger, number 5, an inline runner. Great speed. You know what? And I like the motivation factor, Timmy. We know his carries have gone down with number 29 back in the lineup, but you know what? You take advantage of it, and that's what you do. You produce when you get your chance.
You know, your teammate can make you a better back.
No question about it. I love that ambient heat.
Illegal snap. Offense number 56. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
You know, we were joking with Lincoln Riley the other day about competition, and when you come to Oklahoma, you knew everybody's going to be able to compete. You know, I reminded him I signed after Marcus Dupree signed. Nobody's scared around here, man.
Says the man who wisely took a red shirt when Marcus Dupree came from Mississippi to Oklahoma.
Oh, doctor, I knew you were going to leave that hanging like that.
1st and 15. Jeremiah Hall moved into the slot, and here goes Stevenson down to about the 32-yard line, stopped by Morgan, who's really played well tonight. This entire Baylor defense has been outstanding. You know, Ron Roberts said, here's what we need to do. We have got to stop the counter. All right, we got to get to the quarterback, and we got to get some negative plays. They've done all that. Check, check, check.
Counter and stretch were the 2 plays they were wanting to shut down. The counter, for the most part, has been non-existent, right? Oklahoma that first half had 27 yards rushing, which was amazing.
We've come to the end of 3. Bears just won't go away.
Oh, look, Michael Miller.
Look at the score by quarter. Think about it. Oklahoma was a juggernaut in the first half of football. Last time they've scored less than 28 was against Ohio State in 16.
Yep.
You go back and look at how they outscored people, something like 124 to 17 in the first 2 quarters. Baylor has really stunned them with their defense tonight, albeit trailing by 10.
Well, Baylor has 186 yards. That's 2 more than Oklahoma does right now, Tim, which is amazing.
Rattler faked them out and now has some room, and a shoestring tackle saves the day because defenders still had their backs to Spencer. But J.T. Woods, the junior from San Antonio Steele High School, with the stop, and he needed it.
That may give Oklahoma a 3-yard advantage, but before that, again, just to make the point and underscore how, despite the fact that they haven't been able to rush the ball themselves, now think about this. In the first quarter, Baylor had 3 yards rushing, second quarter 13, and then 2 yards in the third quarter. Yet they still are in a 10-point affair. That's speaking to how good this defense has played against Oklahoma.
3rd down and 5. It's Christian Morgan, the corner cat blitz. He actually lines up as a safety, but he was coming off the edge with that pre-snap maneuver of Ron Roberts.
Watch 4 creeping up on the outside. He comes and takes a wide berth, recognizes that the tackle is engaged. He says, I've got my ears pinned back now. No other responsibility to contain. The play is going away from him. and he gets home.
Well, this will be a 50-yarder for Burkich. His career-long 51 at Iowa State. He's got plenty of leg, but he is against a pretty strong wind. He'll have to hit this one perfectly. He got a lot of it. Yeah, he did. And it is good.
Wow.
Well, the young man is outstanding. Had made 17 consecutive field goals, set a school record in that category at one point here. Young man from Ohio. Toe meets leather, and you're up 13. Lowrider.
Is a little higher.
Here comes Gavin Holmes with a short kick. That's going to be up to the 27-yard line. No marker down, but I hear you. And Above and Beyond is brought to you by Jersey Mike's Sub Shop. Be a sub above.
Two catalytic players right there, Timmy. Stevenson for the offense. Both of them came back the week of the Texas Tech game, and their presence was felt immediately. And since that time, Stevenson's been averaging about 6.6 yards a carry. Tonight withstanding, and clearly Perkins has shown his presence, coming off the edge, screaming with his ears pinned back, been a big factor.
Empty backfield. And Brewer will tuck it. And manage maybe two, and that's it. As the pressure was coming from the Oklahoma defensive ends and linebackers, they were all around him that time.
Yeah, with the three-man rush that time, Tim, it was almost, if I didn't know any better, like they were inviting him to release to the short side of the field and then use a spy to kind of contain him.
Wobu was the guy that really brought the pressure that time. 2nd and 8. Again, they have no running backs, virtually no running backs.
Here comes 4.
Yeah.
They tried a little tunnel screen there. Wims with a little bit too much heat on the quarterback. That's going to be a problem for Oklahoma.
A personal foul on Perkins. He just got a little too much gusto that time.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty.
Look at that look on his. If body language could talk, right?
Yeah.
He's just kind of looking at referee Brandon Cruz there with hands on hips. He was very sportsmanlike in the aftermath to Charlie. We should mention that. Those two have been through a few wars together. Yeah.
I don't know about that one, but, you know, Perkins had split a double team and got back to the quarterback. If his hands would have been lower, maybe he had gotten away with it, but you can't fault the guy. He's an active athlete.
Now Brewer looking for the deep one, incomplete. Over the head of Tyquan Thornton. Trey Brown was in coverage.
Trey used that sideline to his advantage and squeezed it on Thornton until he ran out of real estate. Just nowhere to make a play. Outstanding defense there.
Well, Larry Fedora, the offensive coordinator for Baylor, his offense it runs in contrast to a great extent to what Baylor had been doing before. But you can tell, particularly tonight, with limited personnel, he's allowing Charlie to play it sort of the 2019 version of Charlie.
Yeah,
he is. Sort of a 1 or 2 read and go maneuver by number 5.
Yeah, and see, they're doing the same thing. They're releasing him to the side. If they're just rushing 3, they're releasing him to the weak side of the formation. And again, that's just Charlie, what he does best. When he's mobile, he's the best. That's that 2019 form that you're talking about. But you got to have athletes that can get open.
Tonight, R.J. Sneed has rarely been open, and Thornton has been the most targeted of his receivers. But again, no Lovett tonight. Ebner got hurt. McWilliams is the only back that had played any. They've even moved Josh Fleeks from the slot into the running back position quite a bit tonight.
Let's see if he can do something with these 2 receivers on the hash. They're going to create a rub here. Let's see if he can get a play.
Markers down.
False start on the offense. There was never a time when all 11 players were set. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
That's on the quarterback then, huh?
Yeah.
So all 11 players, neither one of them were set. That's on the quarterback.
third down and 15. And again, when you only have one back to turn to, and he's a redshirt freshman that hasn't played, you're looking for a little protection. Everybody else is out in the pass pattern, and it is hard to get the ball off in time with Oklahoma coming after you. There they are again, batting it down. That's almost unfair for the quarterback. Perrion Winfrey this time slaps it down. That's the 5th time we've seen a pass blocked.
You get a block pass. You get a block pass. You get a block pass. That's right. They're giving them out. It's the holiday season. Winfrey.
Marvin Mims is back deep in single safety with Isaac Power ready to punt it away. Think about it now. Iowa State won really big earlier today. Just disposed of a really good West Virginia team. Hasn't been as pretty tonight for Oklahoma, but
Beautiful pick.
But effective enough, as you see the fair catch caught at the 20-yard line. Sooners are on a collision course with Iowa State for a rematch of the Big 12 title game. Rejection row, not just at Georgetown.
Big sexy. Yeah, how about that?
Bosworth's still playing the deputy, I think, right? Or is he the sheriff now for Dr. Pepper in Kansas? I think he's good to know he's getting work. Stevenson and Pledger in the backfield, and that's Ramondre. And again, Baylor up to the task of stopping the run on first down. Jalen Petrie again piercing through there. And Spencer, that whole story about the emergence of Jamel Holloway and what happened after the injury to people have no idea. There's a whole generation, maybe 2 or 3, that don't remember how he came up as an option quarterback.
I remember how it happened. I mean, let me tell you, out of Henrietta, Oklahoma, Troy could run the option. We had them in there doing some stuff, but right down here against Miami, I think it was, I remember in the huddle, because Lydell Carr, when Jamel Holloway came in after Troy broke his tibia on his leg, Jamel Holloway, a freshman out of Carson, California, replaced him, Timmy.
Wow. And as they say, the rest is history. That pass is caught. It's first down. Braden Willis backing up Stogner tonight at tight end with the reception.
Yeah, but speaking about tight ends, as the Sooners complete this pass here, we were talking about just the other day, could you imagine what this offense had been like back in the day if Troy Aikman and Keith Jackson had been here together?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Keith ended up being a 2-time All-American.
Yeah, it was win-win, though, when you think about it. Troy got to UCLA to play for Terry Donahue in a system that worked perfectly.
What a great guy.
Yeah, one of the really solid individuals in coaching, Terry Donahue.
I was talking about Troy, but
well, I love them both. Look at the maestro working here. Rattler on the run where he's at his best. It's Stevenson and Ramondre has it to midfield and another first down.
I told you he's a big guy body, little guy feet, spinning, man. Look at him. Nice job, footwork, moving up in the pocket, understanding where the pressure's coming from and avoiding it, trying to get his receiver to go vertical up the field, and 29 says, okay, I'll do my best, and I'll spin along the way.
Spencer, that little moment right there, that Rattler moment reminded me of Mayfield.
Okay.
Just the way he stayed in the pocket,
of it.
and just the way the footwork.
Yeah.
That reminded me of Baker.
I think that's fair. I would agree with you.
First and 10. Stoops now moves into the slot down at the bottom of your screen. And again, they go, it's going to be a forward pass. It is incomplete as he was trying to swing it out to Stevenson. We need to remind people say, well, they got him back at midseason for Texas Tech. Yes, drug test prior to the college football playoff last year, and it was a 6-game suspension served by 3 Sooners, Perkins, and, of course, and Stevenson being 2 of those. And getting them back, make a case that Stevenson had really lost his spot, but, oh, by the way, when you're that good, you're going to play a lot. But Stevenson coming back really changed this offense into a run-first proposition.
Absolutely. And again, the balance didn't have to be out of whack. It was more like a 52-48 type of balance, but it forced you to bring a safety down to contend with them.
Near side boundary to Theo Weiss, and I believe he's got the first down with the yards after catch. Martin Milton wraps him up.
You know, football is really easy. It's about, exploiting today anyway. It's about exploiting matchups if you can effectively spread people out. Again, nice job here. You got a running back going upfield to create a natural kind of pick as soon as they're going fast, moving that quarterback out of the pocket. Great defense here.
Oh, was it ever. Stoops, the intended receiver, and Petrie, that's a linebacker, Spencer, who was step for step with Stoops. Now, I know he's not the speed merchant of receivers. He's a possession slot guy, but my goodness, that's outstanding defense by number 8.
Yeah, but Stoops got a little salt in him, man. I know he's born in Norman, but he's got a little Youngstown in him. I love you can watch his body language.
Yeah.
He's got a little attitude to him, man. He knows what he's doing. He's sharp. He's smart. A great blocker downfield.
We were here for Bedlam back in 16. The night before the game, he was playing in the semifinals, and Bob had to run down to see that football game on a Friday night. Pledger. I think he's about a yard shy of the first down. Pledger, a young man from California, toting it there, and stopped by Christian Morgan.
Pledger running heavy, right? We're known for his speed, but boy, inside, he can run, and that's just physics right there. When you're running fast, you can usually create impact and convert that speed to power, and that's what you're looking for in a back like this. And he's running with intention because he knows he's going to have to split carries with 29, and I love his attitude.
Jeremiah Hall joins him now in the backfield. There's a beautiful
That's a dangerous pass, Coach.
It is caught, and it is a first down to Braden Willis at the 21-yard line.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous pass, Timmy, because you're looking at Christian Morgan. The free safety was right there. He was a gnat's you-know-what away from plucking that ball and heading the other direction.
Yeah.
Because there was nobody to get him out. Maybe you celebrate the fact that Rattler can get the ball in those tight windows, but, man, that's a dangerous throw.
Well, it looked like he went to block the pass as opposed to intercept it. I think he might have intercepted it if he had given it that effort.
As a counter.
Wide receiver screen to Weiss. He is down at the 15-yard line.
So that's a case where they will show you counter between the tackles and then pass off of it. There's 3 basic foundational formations they'll run it out of to make it look the same.
Spencer, the 60-game Oklahoma streak of scoring at least 28 points in a game is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
To put how massive this streak really is, Alabama had the second most active game streak with 28-point games, 22 straight after tonight. And their matchup with LSU. Stevenson inside the 10 and out of the 8. 18 Woods, the safety, ushering him out. We mention all that because, as you said, Spencer, Baylor's D has really been pretty good. Oklahoma's not completely healthy, nor is Baylor. But those numbers there are significant.
They really are, Tim. And you and I were talking before the game, and you asked me what numbers we need to be looking at. One of them was time of possession. Right now, Baylor has 25 minutes and 3 seconds, right? 23-17 is Oklahoma. So despite having the lead, this Baylor team has possessed the ball longer.
Yeah.
If they had their offensive weapons, this game would be a lot tighter. It would be more like last year's game.
Yeah, and 2 missed field goals to go with it. Pledger hit at the line of scrimmage and down at the 6. Petrie again. We've called his name quite a bit. Style points are supposed to matter. And if you're thinking for 1 minute that Oklahoma is thinking about not just scoring now, but going for the jugular, you bet they are, and they should. That's the world we live in.
That's the COVID and subjective world. Even without COVID, it was going to be a subjective component to it. But, should they hang on to win this game, and there's a lot of time left on the clock yet still, they'll have a chance to go and avenge the loss to Iowa State.
Then we got markers down prior to the snap. I think we may have a timeout.
First time out of the half called by Oklahoma. Timeout on the field.
You want to get it in, and you want to get it back, and you want to score again. At redemption against one of the 2 teams that beat them this year. Rattler for the corner, Police. Boy, he had it, and just couldn't quite hang on incomplete.
Mark Milton defending back there, and the ball was thrown up there. Had a nice touch on it.
It did.
I couldn't really see the trajectory, but it looked like it was perfect. After releasing it, just hit him right in the hand.
Yeah, should have been caught. Should have been caught.
Yeah, coming out of that break, he tried to identify the ball, but his eyes were off of it just a little bit.
See, they're going to go for the. I like this. I do. I think, why not? Third down and goal. You got to keep it going. Let's see. Be curious to see if they settle for 3. If they don't get this in, You would think they would to make it a...
Got to run away from the numbers.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
Down he goes. That's the one thing you didn't want to have happen. And it's Christian Morgan again, getting him all the way back at the 21-yard line. We got a marker down, so hang on.
Yeah, irrespective what the marker is, Timmy, the bottom line is he ran right into the teeth of the numbers.
Well, if this is a horse collar,
the numbers are on the left side of the
break.
formation, and that's where he's releasing.
On the defense.
No,
Half
it's
the
not.
distance to the goal. It's still
it is
third
a
down.
holding, and that's a big break for Oklahoma. The holding did not take place anywhere near the play, but it did take place in the Baylor secondary.
Well, I'm going inside the game. The holding is what it is. It was a bad call. It's a bad decision to release into the teeth of this. There's a formation here, and you can see the release on the outside. You can see he's holding. There's no question about it.
Yeah, good call. But he didn't get the ball off.
It would have
right.
been.
Yeah.
By rule, penalty does not carry an automatic first down.
Yeah, there you go.
They treat it like a run.
Exactly. And this is again where the fans go nuts, right? But you got to get the ball off. You can't get the automatic first down without throwing the football. And he did not. So it's still third and goal. And now we've got a false start for Oklahoma.
Offense number 52, 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Tyrese Robinson there on the right guard.
Again, it's been a tough week here, and just getting these guys on the field has been difficult. Multiple players, double-digit players out with COVID protocol. Not necessarily having an impact on all of these mistakes. We're talking about starters here. That's a starter, Robinson at right guard. But there's some rust after this layoff after Bedlam. And, of course, that was a huge win, a blowout win against your rival. And Baylor's come in really giving it to them.
I wonder if they're having some issues lining up. I think Pledger should be on the opposite side of this formation here.
Pressure on the edge again. Oh, it's tipped and caught. Touchdown, Brayden Willis. Baylor had a pick, and the ball curved off and into his hands for a touchdown. The Bears should have had a pick. I believe it was number 3, Tejada.
Better to be lucky than good.
No, 28, I beg your pardon, Smith.
Smith tipped it, and again, J.T. Woods was behind him. The pressure was on him. Excellent job of dialing up the right kind of pressure. Poor decision. You know, again, the ball was tipped. Timmy,
he got away with it, and it feels good, I'm sure, or better.
They've made him earn every bit of it tonight.
He sure did.
And he was lucky, not good on that play.
Burkich for the extra point. Well, again, the end result, Oklahoma now getting the kind of spread that is necessary to impress. Not necessarily the style points that you want to make, but Oklahoma will take it and lead by 20.
Because everything about that from a defensive standpoint suggests it shouldn't have happened.
Gavin Holmes is awaiting, and it's a fair catch. Muffed it, but he can still, because he got a fair catch. No, not worried. Well, Fox College football, he stopped, and he's down at that point. He was hoping to get that ball out of the 25. He should have just let it go through the end zone for a touchback. Little curl up the middle to White. And Jonah White gets it out to the 18-yard line. Well, that's a good first down play to give them a little room to work with. Oklahoma has now opened this thing up to a 20-point cushion, so you would expect them to keep everything in front of them the rest of the way.
I like this Jonah White. He kind of reminds me of...
It's tipped again. Wow. Well, that hung up there. It must have felt like 30 seconds for White for the ball to come back down to him. Charlie's had a lot of them deflected tonight. It was big. Number 96, Stokes, this time that got his hand up there.
Yep, Perkins was on the backside, but you're right, Stokes was in his face immediately. 33 kind of reminds me of Stevenson. Just a little bit different skill set, maybe a light version of him.
Brewer across his body to White for a first down.
I like this kid, man.
Well, you know, we talked about it. He's a converted quarterback. had some big days in high school, and he and Jacoby Clark getting their first action of this season. And again, Tay McWilliams getting some. He had played a little bit earlier this year, but no Ebner after his injury and no John Lovett, really affecting Charlie Brewer tonight. And Holmes, in that quick throw, that ball's on the ground, but I think they're going to say he was down at the 39-yard line. They'll rule him down by contact.
That's the third time they tried to affect that tunnel screen. I think it's a great concept, particularly when you're looking for opportunities in the traffic. And the spin, you can see he's down. The ball, yeah, clearly he's down.
Brewer checks down underneath to White again. He is out past the 45 to the 46-yard line. You know, they've stopped the run beautifully, though, Oklahoma. Last time they've given up this few rushing yards, only 16 rushing yards given up tonight, was in 2009 when Baylor got only 6 yards rushing in a 33-7 Oklahoma win.
Turner Udell there defending 33. They're going to try to continue to get the ball to him. Another wham screen.
That one should have been caught by Holmes.
Just had a little bit too much heat on it there. You know, one of the tough things to diagnose and discern is the speed of a ball coming at you when you're rushing toward the ball on a crossing route, what is essentially, and the ball is being thrown to you. That ball is coming hot. It's almost like it's multiplied.
Second down and 10. Low snap. Brewer in trouble. Now lets it go, and he gets it to White. Boy, he is resourceful. You're right. White is awfully good. He gets it to the 48-yard line. He'll be 4 yards shy of a first down.
Great job of recovery. The ball is snapped low, and again, this Valentin did a nice job of getting it. But, you know, when you get a new guy in center, man, it's tough. You got to execute that thing, play in and put
a show right away. Yeah, the Grinch.
Well, let's see if
stop
they can
watching it.
Put a pinch on this defense here.
Third down and 4. Brewer. Oh, that one almost reeled in by Holmes. Thrown a little bit behind him and in traffic. And Gavin Holmes unavailable to bring that one in. That's Jeremiah Credell, 22 there.
He almost had oh, by the way, interception there to himself.
So yet another fourth down for Baylor. I'll look back on this game and remember missed opportunities in the first quarter.
But I can tell you this, in the future years to come, this is going to be a matchup for the ages.
That pass is caught by R.J. Sneed. And that's one of those that you would have anticipated him catching more of in the seam through the course of this night, but he's been well defended by Oklahoma. Their corners have done a really nice job in man coverage. Another low snap. Yeah. Goes underneath again to White. That may be something they need to put in the playbook.
He took a bad spill, did White, on that sideline.
Yes, he was pushed out by Brian Meade.
I think he got dinged up too, Tim. They're going to need some help with him.
They are. Those low snaps have actually worked well for yardage, though. They picked up 8 or 9 yards on them. There's Meade with that late push, and again, most of that was the momentum.
And that is always the priority here at Oklahoma. But give them credit for the leadership they showed. That's what leadership is all about. Yep. Making decisions in advance of situations that play out, and you get credit for it, but you also have to deal with the fallout of it if it doesn't work.
Well, I go back to this. We're in a situation now where the College Football Playoff Committee, so subjective, has to weigh subjectively, all right, with really nebulous criteria that you really can't explain.
Right.
How good is said team in the Big Ten that's 5-0 or 6-0 versus, we can't unsee those 2 losses Oklahoma and Iowa State had. But guess what? They've evolved into something else by the end of the year when you play 11 games.
Well, everybody's got a bibliography and footnotes to their season, particularly in 2020. And I think that's part of the challenge for this committee, is to ascertain exactly what is the narrative for each team.
Right. There's a little curl to Holmes again. That's good for a first down to the 16-yard line. And think about the decision in the ACC that was made. Without getting Notre Dame. How about that deal? Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director, John Swafford make that deal. And because of it, they may be sitting pretty with 2 teams for one season anyway. a part of the college football playoff. Holmes inside the 15 to around the 13. A lot to be done and said and played between now and then, but
well, it's certainly not to disparage what Notre Dame has done. I mean, we've got great respect for Coach Kelly. Brian has been a quarterback whisperer wherever he's been, and he's, in my opinion, the job he did with Cincinnati back in the day was reminiscent with what Lincoln Riley has done here.
Yeah, and Ian Book's been off the charts. He really has. That pass is complete to Jacoby Clark to the 8-yard line, a little more than a yard shy of the first down. And think about it, who would they have played if they hadn't gotten into the ACC?
Yep.
You know, at the time the decision was made, there was no Stanford football, no USC football. They needed to have games to play. They might have been like BYU searching for games.
Yeah, just so I'm clear, I'm not disparaging at all Notre Dame. I think the quarterback has had a brilliant year. Respect the program. It's just the optics on it looked a little bit questionable.
Oh, I think you're talking about the decision not to play Wake Forest?
Yeah. You know, and when you look at the body of work, what you've done, right? I think you got to look at everything in totality.
That was a conference decision made by the ACC earlier this week. Yeah. And Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey had a few things to say about it.
Yeah.
But in this day and time, Spencer, when you only have to take care of your constituency, the ACC did right by their institutions. That's really the world we're living in there, too.
Everyone does what is right in their own mind, right?
4th and 3. Let's see what Brewer can do. Oh, he's got plenty of room.
Nice release. And that's kind of been the philosophy all day.
He's got a first down inside the 5. Scampers out right at the 4-yard line.
You know, Oklahoma's just got to remain aggressive when they get down here because this is what he's been doing. They've just found a way, has Dave Aranda and his stop unit, to find some bodies to contend and deal with that. Alex Grinch has just got to be mindful of that. When he does pull the ball down to releases, you've got to get bodies over there. They did a fine job of that for the bulk of this game.
From the 4. Empty backfield.
Right tackle is a little bit antsy.
Brewer lets it fly to the corner, incomplete. And we got a flag down.
Yeah, there is.
At the 3-yard line.
Offside. Defense, number 7. Half the distance to the goal. It's first down.
Well, that string of consecutive 28-point performances at home at 60-plus, certainly in peril now, but Oklahoma, sometimes when you're trying to win with style, at some point you have to just say, let's just win and get out of here. Get on to the next one.
No question about it.
60 consecutive games, scoring 28-plus points. Longest streak in FBS. Brewer, nice. He's going to take it to the pylon for the touchdown. Give that young man some credit. He's been without all of his arsenal, and he's been under attack and had more passes redirected into his face than just about any other quarterback I've seen in many, many years, and he gets it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, Sooners had, until this point, done a fantastic job with that release to prevent him from getting open field yards, but when they got closer to the end zone, they kind of failed in that department and allowed him to score.
There's extra point. And Ian Book, from my perspective, is the most improved quarterback from one year to the next I've ever seen.
I agree with that.
Yeah, here's a beautiful onside. The high kick was there, but it's received by Stevenson on the hands team at the 49-yard line, so they will have possession of the football.
And that kind of tells you what they think of the big fella. You know, they use him in the throw game a lot as an extension of the run game, and they got him on a hands team.
Oh, he's hobbled a little bit
He
here.
is nicked up a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he's hobbled.
I think he may have taken a shot, too, trying to feel that ball. When it's up high in the air, man, you're vulnerable.
Let's see, as he's going down. I think that helmet may have gotten him on the left knee there. Chanticleer. Everybody, and I was as guilty as anyone talking about how great BYU was. Yep. And the game was put together late. It was a long travel for the BYU program.
That's where they get kudos.
But again, give the Chanticleers and the Sun Belt a lot of credit there. Huh? I mean, my goodness. And Grayson McCall, what an outstanding quarterback he is. We've heard so much about Wilson at BYU, but
McCall, such a great leader, man. The way he carries himself, his countenance. Got a lot of assets around him as well.
Absolutely. Timeout. We'll take it with him. Well, clinching a berth to the Big 12 championship. Will play for the 6th consecutive conference title. And as we mentioned earlier, we were last year for Bedlam when the Big 12 title was actually a regular season game between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma back in 2016.
After you, man.
They haven't quit, have they?
No, they don't. That's why I'm so stoked about the future of this series, man.
Mentioned it at the top, Spencer, the rare situation where Oklahoma, the big name brand captain, and Fox at FS1 stalwart Petros Papadakis.
Just saved me some spanakopita after the game, big boy.
Pre-game meal is always best when you're with Petros' crew. That ball was nearly plucked out of the air. Yet again, Snead, the intended receiver, Brown, was there, and I think he may have had his eyes set on a
watch Trey Brown come up and read the body language of Brewer as he delivers a strike.
Boom.
Excellent pass, but great head up. Brown just runs through it, lays the helmet right through it. Excellent defense.
It's going to take a lot of help for either one of these Big 12 teams, Spencer, to manage to get back into playoff conversation. But you can make a great case that these two teams are playing as well and are playing late in the season their best football ever. Baylor just made Oklahoma not look as good, not as sharp, not as crisp, and it was a long week that was beset with COVID protocols for Lincoln Riley's club.
Listen, Ron Roberts is a great defensive coordinator, but Dave Aranda was the highest paid defensive coordinator in football for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a great defensive mind, and the future matchups between Oklahoma and Baylor are going to be ones for the ages.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that. His culture was not something that needed to be fixed because Matt Rule, what he did when he left a culture intact, one that was strong. But it's tough to change even positive culture. But once they do, this Baylor team is going to be dangerous.
Brewer's going to get out a couple of yards shy of the first down. I thought it was interesting when he told us last night when we visited that, the guys on our team, our veteran players, they were, they loved Matt Rule. I mean, they really loved him. But yet he could see that some of what his culture is about it. And he also said something I loved. He said the Big 12 is a culture league. Think about it. Iowa State, Kansas State. Teams win with their culture, not necessarily with just Jimmys and Joes. And he loves that about the Baylor program.
That gives them an advantage. A lot of coaches out there rely on talent only, and that's great. I think, to be honest with you, and I know we're going to get hammered for this, but I think that's part of what Texas's challenge is right now. You rely on the name and the brand and the history and all that stuff, but you know what? You lose one generation where you haven't had success. And my old offensive coordinator, Mac Brown, when he left, last guy to do it. Last guy to do it, but they stumbled out of that time period with no players drafted that final year, his last year. It takes a while to recover. These kids are so fickle and fleeting. You can sell your tradition and history if you want to, but if you've not done something recently, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Brewer is going to be sacked on the final play of the game, and Isaiah Thomas was the guy to get there. And Lincoln Riley's club will move ahead to 7-2. They've now won 6 in a row. He's on his way to yet another Big 12 championship opportunity. 4 of the last 5 seasons in the college football playoff. 3 consecutive trips there, and Big 12 titles have become the norm in Norman. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. The Bears gave them all they wanted. Nice sportsmanship there as Lincoln finds Charlie Brewer. Stay right where you are.